Hi. We are currently existing in a world in which there is a Holocaust happening. The ironic part is that the people who are perpetrating the Holocaust were previously the victims of a Holocaust, which trauma does tend to do that. However, given the violent history of the Jews based on the Torah, or even just the Old Testament, it's not terribly surprising that they would engage in this behavior, and especially since they are actually using the Torah and I presume the Talmud to justify their behavior, it's even less surprising. What is surprising is that Holocaust survivors are protesting this behavior and are being ignored by Israel. Actual survivors are being ignored by the leadership of Israel. If we look at history, when a massive trauma is inflicted on one group, they tend not to let go of it. They tend to either make it a defining part of their lives, a permanent trauma on their psyche, which can go inward in a way that destroys them, or go inward in a way that turns them into the very monsters that persecuted them. And that is what Israel has become, the latter. But worst of all, and the Jews have had my sympathy for a long, long time for what happened to them during World War II and prior to it, is the fact that the actions of Israel are vastly increasing the risk of persecution of Jews worldwide because of Israel. Not only have several nations cut off access for Israeli tourists who wish to visit their country because of violence perpetrated by them while they're in a foreign nation, but also because of the behavior of Israel. But there is a rising anti-Israel sentiment. And this is eventually going to result in indiscriminate targeting of anybody who is a Jew, despite their feelings personally on the topic and their stance on the topic. Because people, by and large, have a tendency to just say, oh, you're this? Ooh, I hate you. Boom! And they go after them, even when that person is completely innocent or on the same side. Take, for example, the man who was wearing a turban after 9/11. He was a Sikh. It has nothing to do with Islam. It's an Indian religion. And he was murdered. And that's an extreme example. But Israel's behavior is putting all Jews around the world at risk. At the very least, of greater anti-Semite behavior, if not persecution, if not genocide. So if Israel actually cares about the Jews, which I don't think it does, but if it does, it should stop now. Turn it around and become a nation that all Jews can be proud of instead of dismayed by. I certainly am dismayed. I hope it stops soon. I hope it stops immediately, and that the Jews just wake up and say, oh my God, what are we doing? Please forgive us, God. And then they turn around and they fix it. But that's just probably a pipe dream. Israel is the new Nazi Germany.